Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you doing? My name is Amanda Ellis, and a very warm welcome to my channel. Today is the last day of July, unbelievably, into August tomorrow. We are already in the corridor of Lion's Gate. Every year I offer something for Lion's Gate, and I will be doing so this year. That will be out next week, so do make sure that you're actually subscribed, and also you check my channel, because a lot of my videos people are not getting notified about. This video though, I wanted to come on and try to bring some spiritual guidance and nourishment, and also some words from spirit, because I'm hearing one word in particular, which is interconnectivity, with regards to a number of events that are happening right now. Now, of course, everything is connected. We are all connected. But I'm talking particularly about the last 24 to 48 hours. And in particular, in this video, we're going to be focusing on the 8.8 earthquake just off the eastern coast of Russia yesterday, the number of tsunami effects that then took effect. Also the volcano that went off in Russia around the same time, although I believe there are many volcanoes in that area, but I still want to link it. Obviously the energy of the ring of fire in general, but also what I want to call radar disturbance. Those of you that are not in the UK might not know, but yesterday, around the time of all of the fallout energetically from the earthquake, the tsunami alerts, the volcanoes, we also had all of the airspace affected, and I've actually screenshotted a couple of headlines here in the UK, because I know that the narratives are going to change, but actually it does say here thousands stranded by radar glitch. So of course, probably going forward, it's going to be blamed on, I don't know, some wire that's fallen out, or cyber attack, which of course is a possibility. But I think the coincidence of all flights being grounded, or certainly a huge proportion of flights being grounded, and this is a rolling problem now in the UK for a number of days, lots of flights affected by this radar issue. Once we start to understand interconnectivity of everything, electromagnetic waves, geophysical waves, heart-to-heart resonance waves, we will start to build a better picture in terms of actually what is going on, because all of these events are linked. And I cannot tell you how blown away I am by the fact that Metatron said, get on camera, talk about all this, and then literally there has just been another breaking story in London. I'll just show you what it is. Basically, it's a double-decker bus which has caught fire. It's been put out, nobody has been injured, but it was the number 88 bus, caught fire on this morning. And can you see, if I put it up to the camera, can you see what it says on the bus? It says together. It's obviously a film, I guess, that's being promoted, but all you can see through the smoke, can you see that, is the word together. Number 88 bus on fire, 8.8 earthquake, 8.8 Lionsgate portal coming up next week. Everything is connected. The whales as well that breached, and actually it's well, there's a couple of different stories with regards to the whales, but of course whales are very affected by sound and sonar waves also. So let's just start, shall we? Let's start at the very beginning. I'm also probably going to be asking, I was going to say pulling in, and that sounded very disrespectful, because he was a very respectful man and I did have the pleasure of meeting him. I feel as though I'd like to ask Dr Masaru Emoto whether he would like to be present with us, and he's there saying yes. Okay, and as he always does, he always comes in with these very soft soft footsteps. He's saying there's something in that, the fact that we are all clattering around on Mother Earth. Our footprints are heavy. Hold on, he's here. Our footprints are heavy with unprocessed emotions, with unresolved dramas, also with the weight of expectation, and also the heaviness of the world right now. So there's something about treading lightly upon Mother Earth at this time. And he's showing me Mother Earth as a birthing female. So, as I have said before, Mother Earth is birthing a new era, what we call New Earth, fifth dimensional consciousness. And we are birthing that right now. But imagine a birthing female, and you're constantly poking and prodding and provoking her. It's going to make the birth much harder than it needs to be. So, number one, he's saying we need to tread more softly. So I'll interweave Dr. Emoto throughout this video. But also I wanted to say, and I have said this in many other videos, that Mother Earth is going to do her thing no matter what. The Earth will ascend to a higher frequency, and actually I'm hearing already is at a higher frequency than most of the occupants upon her, with the exception, I'm hearing, of the animal kingdom, I'm hearing of whom are already holding a higher dimensional consciousness. And definitely watch for the animals that are showing up right now in your world that are modelling that. I'm literally sitting here about to get a cat, okay, for the first time in years. We've got Leo, yes, I know, for Lionsgate, arriving in our home in the next few days. Hopefully, certainly by Lionsgate, he will be here. And I know that that cat has been divinely sent to us. It's come via somebody else who is passing him on to us. And interestingly, he's arriving at 9 months old. What is the gestation period of a pregnancy? 9 months old. So somebody has literally been housing this cat for 9 months, and we now are going to get the birthed version, as it were, energetically birthed version of him. How special is that? But yes, the animals showing the way as they always do. Mother Earth raising her frequency no matter what. And we have a choice whether we're going to match her or not. One thing I've also said over the years, two things actually, is I feel that, sorry, I need to write them down, otherwise I forget. What were the two things? Okay, sorry, I had to think about what the two things were. Number one, I've always said that in a world that is increasingly divided and has gone into separate camps with huge problems that result from that, the one thing that will bring us back together again is Gaia. And this will likely come via a number of events in our world. I'm hearing spread across the whole globe, so it's as though no part escapes completely unscathed. Because again, interconnectivity shows that if something happens here, it has to also have a result over here. It might be delayed, but there will be some type of result. And of course, the best way that nature demonstrates that is via, for example, an earthquake, and then the world yesterday waiting to see the tsunami that may or may not have arrived across multiple shores, and how high was that going to be, or etc. So we're in times definitely where Mother Earth events are going to be happening. We have to be prepared for that. And ultimately, that is also what will unite us. When it comes down to it, if you are in peril or danger or needing assistance, does the colour of somebody's politics actually influence, for example, whether you take the hand offered in help or not? You'd be a fool if you rejected it, let's put it that way. So that's number one. And what we saw yesterday is, I was going to say the start, but I'm actually hearing a continuation of this chain of events to come. It's already been happening for a while, and it will continue for a while. But the second most important point as well is that Mother Earth Gaia doesn't actually want to hurt us through these changes. And where she can, she will spare life that is in the way, as it were, of times when she needs to release or have a purge, whether that be through the energy of fire, water, wind, etc. Yesterday, I don't actually have the statistics to hand, but it looks as though there was very minimal loss of human life. I can't say the same for animal life, I don't know. But certainly there doesn't seem to have been many deaths as a result of this 8.8 quake. And that is a massive quake. It's in the top 10 of the most powerful quakes that this planet has ever had. And if you think about that, and you think about the fact that there's been hardly any loss of life, that is truly extraordinary. Having said that, we're not out of the danger zone yet, and we shouldn't be complacent. But definitely also bear in mind and give your thoughts to the earth with regards to gratitude when an event such as yesterday happens, but there isn't the absolute devastation that could have resulted either from a massive tsunami that took out swathes of the population, or actually in the event of the earthquake itself. I think it's important to give thanks and gratitude when we are spared in that way. But yeah, definitely, she doesn't want to hurt us, but she does ultimately need to move as a woman moves when she is contracting and having a baby. If you've been in the last stages of labour, you will know that those last stages, often you do not have control over your physical body in terms of if you need to move a leg or an arm or let out a cry, whatever it is, you will do so. It's primal. It becomes animalistic. So Mother Earth, as this organic living thing, must also be allowed to do what she needs to do. Okay, so let's just see then. So I've said about the 8.8 quake. One thing that strikes me is, yes, this event has happened around the start of Lion's Gate, or certainly within a few days of it anyway. Now, in 2023, on Lion's Gate, we had the terrible fires in Hawaii centered around Maui. I believe they ran from the 8th to the 16th, and there were people that were killed in those fires. And of course, massive devastation did occur. And I have to be honest, when I heard the news first thing yesterday, not only was there this energy of, oh gosh, I hope everybody's all right, and etc., but I was very struck by the fact it's being widely reported as an 8.8 quake, and we've obviously got Lionsgate coming up on 8.8. Given the fact Spirit have just given us this other message of this bus 88 on fire in London with the word together, I want to tune into this. So the first thing to say is that events, when they happen, such as these, as I've already said, are an opportunity for communities to come together and to rebuild and to actually model what community is. Because we live in a world often where we don't, unfortunately, always see that. Modern life and the breakdown of families in terms of families being separate, whether that be in different countries, different parts of the country, but not always together as they used to be, and communities being very separate. These events give an opportunity for community to come together. I'm sure we certainly saw that in Hawaii, and I don't know what's happening in Russia, for example, as a result of yesterday, but I would hope that would be the case as well. But yeah, I've written down here, is something off with this Lion's Gate? I don't know whether it's off. I would say that it feels different. And these are a few things that I've been given by Spirit. So I asked Metatron yesterday, I said, is there something off with this Lion's Gate? I've actually written down here, I said to him, is this Lion's Gate being interfered with? And by that, I'm talking about energetically interfered with. This is just a line of questioning at the moment, okay? And what I heard him say back was that every portal is interfered with, or every portal is there is an attempt to attack it. Now, this isn't just true, for example, of Lion's Gate. It would also be true of portals such as Easter or Christmas, or any important portal linked into a particular belief system where there is an opportunity to raise the vibration. So what he's saying is every portal can be interfered with or attacked. Having said that, our job is to guard it. Now, it doesn't mean that we failed in 2023, and that's why the fires happened. It's not what I'm saying. It's more just that, irrespective almost of these natural events, I had felt a few weeks before now that there was something feeling off about this Lion's Gate. And when I tuned into that, what I got was, let's put it this way, those of you that follow me every year on Lion's Gate, you will know that what we typically do is I will walk you through a doorway, a gateway, okay? Whether you see that gateway as an external thing, whether you see that gateway as within your heart, ultimately the job is to walk you through the gateway. And what the gateway symbolises and what you leave behind and what you get the other side of it is probably different each year. But that's effectively what we have been doing. This year, I already had instruction from Metatron a couple of weeks ago that we weren't going to be doing that. It was going to be different this year. And what he said to me was that this year's Lion's Gate, what have I actually written down here, is about getting reinforcements. It's about getting reinforcement energy. It's about becoming stronger. It's about finding your roar, earning your wings. I've also written down actually finding your balls. I mean, sorry if that language offends you, but it's just like the lion basically has balls. The lion is able to roar. The lion feels strong. So it feels as though this Lion's Gate is more about a blessing and giving us qualities that we need right now. Maybe in our own personal lives, but also maybe as a consequence of what is happening out there in our world. Because if Mother Earth is doing her thing and contracting, and then there's a pause, and then there's another contraction, and it could be a long labour. Labour isn't necessarily quick. It could be a very long labour. We don't know what time frame we're talking about here. Astrologers can hazard a guess and say, by this date it's all going to be over. But that's a bit like an expectation of when a baby will arrive. It can go on longer than that. So I'm not going to put a time frame on this. I certainly know it's not over this year. It's certainly going into next year. And so I feel as though what Spirit and Archangel Metatron are wanting to help us with this Lion's Gate is to give us the apparatus, they're saying, the apparatus. And interestingly, I'm also hearing the breathing equipment to be able to deal with these months and years ahead. And that is not to put fear into anybody's mind or heart. It should, if anything, give you reassurance that no matter what happens out there, you will be okay, because you're being given and gifted the qualities that are going to help you and steer you through these times. So breathing apparatus, that's an interesting thing for him to say. I'm just tuning into that. Okay, so what I'm sensing, and I actually feel this in my own physicality today, because I would like to get to, in this video, also talking about how our bodies are adjusting and being influenced by all of this activity in our world, volcanoes, tsunamis, etc. But yeah, I'm feeling today, the only way I can describe it is when you're in an aeroplane or underneath the sea, I guess, there is a change of pressure, and you often will feel it in your ears in particular, maybe your sinuses, but the ears, and you get your ears popping, don't you? I'm feeling like that right now, sitting here, but I'm actually just sat in my room, okay? I'm not in an aeroplane, I'm not in a submarine, but it feels as though my body, my physicality is adjusting to a different air pressure. And that is really, truly what I'm sensing. So the elements all being interconnected, there's something about air pressure here. It's interesting, you know, because those of you that watched that video I did on the Air India flight 171 that came down within 30 seconds of crashing, do you remember me saying, I showed you a card and I said, there's a link to air pressure here? And obviously it's obvious that the air pressure was awry because the plane crashed, but there was something about air pressure with that video. Do you remember me saying about it? And I'm getting it back here again. So I'm now being shown the image of, imagine that we suddenly landed on Mars or the moon. We would have to wear something, would we not, to be able to survive on that new planet. We wouldn't just be able to land there and walk out without any apparatus. So does it not make sense that if this planet is ascending to a higher frequency and ultimately is going to feel and look very different for those of us that choose to travel with her to that frequency, we are going to need to learn to maybe breathe in a different way, move in a different way, respond in a different way. Everything is going to be different on this new planet. It can't not, because it's at a higher frequency. So it's not like we're going to be walking around with helmets on or anything like that. It's a bit like the energy of the armour of God. Those of you that follow me and we talk about the armour of God a lot, I talk about putting on your I can never remember the order of it. Is it sword of the spirit, belt of truth, helmet of salvation, all of that? You're not literally putting on a helmet of salvation. You're not literally putting on a belt of truth. They are energetic garments that you're putting on. So I'm seeing this as some type of breathing apparatus that helps us to just adjust. So, okay, so that's the first thing to say. But yeah, so this Lionsgate, it does feel different, and it feels as though I'm going to be doing something different with you, and it's more going to be about being bestowed with the qualities that you need for these times. Having said that, there's no get out of jail free card. You are given the qualities, but it's like a muscle. You then have to use it. So, but I'll come to that when I get to the video specifically on that. Okay. So I felt it was important to come on today because I feel as though part of this video's energy and purpose is to actually try and clear the ethers a bit and clear the debris around this Lion's Gate. With regards to whatever it is that does want to come in, because it definitely feels not completely clear yet. Even the grid that I've got set up here, you might not be able to see it, I understand that, but I've set it out today. It feels as though I've got the bones of it there, as it were. The basic structure is there, but it also feels a little bit like an empty shell, because it's meant to feel a bit like an empty shell, because it's as though we're not being shown yet what it is that is going to be arriving, because there are still events to play out, I'm hearing, okay? I think it's also very important that when events do play out, like yesterday, 8.8 quake, tsunami alert maybe in your part of the world, that it's brilliant that not much happened in terms of death or too much damage, unless you're literally at the epicenter. But it's very human nature to sort of like shrug it off, and we can all do that. And that's fine to do that. But that's what your mind is doing. Your mind is shrugging off, oh, well, we live to fight another day. Nothing much happened. Let's just get back to our work, whatever it is we're doing. But your body doesn't respond in the same way. Now, when I turned on my phone yesterday morning and I saw that there'd been an 8.8 quake in Russia and there were all these tsunami alerts going off around the Ring of Fire in particular, my body had a reaction in terms of, because shock is literally is an intake of breath. That's what it is. And unless you release that shock, it stays in the body. Now, the fact that I had that reaction, and I was nowhere near the actual site of the initial problem or fallout areas. If you were in the line of fire, excuse the pun, you would have had a bigger reaction to that. So number one, it's very important to let that out of the body with regards to not just yesterday's events, but we're living in times where it is event after event after event. There were a number of political earthquakes going off yesterday as well. The big ones that we all know about, for example, the Epstein list, etc. That's a rolling political earthquake that is just rumbling and one day is going to explode out in the open. But, in my own country, UK, there was a trial yesterday, the Manchester trial. Won't go into it, but that, if it had gone maybe another way, could have created an absolute earthquake in terms of reaction. So it's as though we're all walking around on eggshells, like what's going to happen next. It's really important that you let that energy out of the body, and you have to do it consciously. So shall we just do that together for one moment? And I'm just going to think which spray would be good to help us with that. And I think it is the air elemental spray. So let's grab that. Because the air elemental spray on it, I don't know if you can see that, it has one word and the word is breathe. And when there is a shock, whether it is something happening in politics or Mother Earth, and as I say, all the time there are things happening right now, we're hearing about them every day, it's like that you need to get rid of that energy because that is stored somewhere in your interesting, I nearly said shells. I was going to say cells, but I sort of quite like the energy of shells as well, actually. Being a Cancerian, maybe, there's something in that. We are the shell. Where's my little bracelet here? I've got the turtle there. I don't know if you can see that, the turtle. Because the turtles obviously carry their home on their back. They've got that shell. And there's something about, we're all a bit like turtles at the moment. We're all trying to find home. We're trying to feel at home on this planet, even though this planet is going through massive awakening and ascension and events that are happening all the time. And what's happening is many people are actually retreating into their shells, not literally poking their head out in terms of, is it safe to come out today? What's going to happen today? So I actually feel as though we need to be using two elements to help us, our bodies, because the shell is around all of us, whether we are Cancerian or not. Number one, that shell needs washing. So I'm going to use the water elemental first. So however you imagine a shell that you may have around yourself, whether you instead would like the word barricade, protection, fortification, whatever it is, I'm being shown like a literal fort now. So imagine in a war, and we are in spiritual wars at the end of the day right now, the battle between light and dark. A fort, when it is attacked, even though the wall remains upright and solid, it will still get the marks on it, will it not, from the attack, from whether it's arrows or anything else that's being shot at it, cannonballs. So we have to firstly cleanse away the energy of attack, shock, trauma, uncertainty, fear from that shell. It's a bit like when you use crystals. I use crystals all the time, but you should cleanse your crystals, because the crystal is there as a defense. For example, if you're using a protective crystal, or even if you're not a protective crystal, here I've got a lapis lazuli, okay? So if I'm using that a lot and I'm trying to tune in maybe to, I don't know, my higher self or a particular guide, and maybe I've just been using this for months and months and months without ever cleansing it, well, this crystal can also get attacked, can it not? By maybe other energies that are trying to come in to connect with me, that type of thing. So it's really important that not only do we cleanse our crystals that are trying to, for example, protect us or help us, but the actual apparatus and shield energy that is around us. So let's do that with water, but this is a very gentle mist of water coming in. It's not like any great wave or anything like that. It's just water when it's very soft and gentle, and it's just cleansing that away, okay? And then I want us just to go into our bodies, and we're going to use the air elemental, and I just would like us to take 3 deep breaths, and as we're breathing in the energy of air, we are breathing in the energy of purified, cleansing air, and taking it deep into the body, into the cells, into the organs, into wherever it is where you've had a shock response and you've gone, wherever that's gone, we're breathing into that with purified air, and then we are breathing out air, okay? So it's when we do it consciously. So, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And just noticing the energy of peace and calmness that comes when you just tune in and you allow the purified air to reach the cells and the lungs, and then for that release also. So important we did that. Thank you. All right, where are we? Okay, so the other thing I wanted to mention about yesterday, and I did say some of this on Instagram and Facebook yesterday, I do try and respond quite quickly when there are big things happening in the world, so do make sure you're tuned in to those channels if you want to. But I will just go over the fact that there was also this instance of the animals forewarning. And again, Mother Earth, as I say, she's going to help unite us. She doesn't particularly want to hurt us. But equally, the animals are there as warning posts, basically. Watch the animals. So what happened in Russia at the place of the epicenter of this 8.8 earthquake is that a number, well, 5, it's the number 5. The number is important. I'll just show you the image I've got here. 5 beluga whales washed up on shore a number of hours before the quake. And this is what they look like. I mean, look at those beautiful animals. I'm really struck by their whiteness as well. It reminds me of the energy of like a white unicorn or a white horse, or a white, is there such a thing as a white deer? I don't know. But I'm just being shown the energy of a white, the animals that I've mentioned. Because that is linked to the energy of Christ consciousness. White as a colour ray is linked into the energy of purity. And so we have these 5 beautiful white beluga whales washing up on the shore of Kamchatka. And the beautiful thing about it is that local fishermen rushed to help them, keeping them safe and cool for hours. And when the tide returned, all 5 swam back into the ocean. So again, this thing of interconnectivity, those animals would not have survived without the help of the fishermen. I said yesterday, think about the symbolism of fishermen. Fishermen were Christ's disciples. His disciples came from simple fishermen. The number 5 linked into the energy of 5th dimensional frequency. I'm also now hearing the energy of the 5 loaves. I always get this the wrong way round. The loaves and the fish. Let me just see. I don't know why, or I can never remember which way round it was. Is it the 5 loaves and the 10? No, 5 loaves and 2 fish. Okay, 5. The feeding of the 5,000 basically refers to the biblical story of Jesus feeding a multitude of 5,000 people with a small amount of food, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. So something here about the energy of miracle as well. Something in that is that even in very difficult days, that miracles are there. And there's also something about trust and faith. That miracle of the feeding, I didn't realise it was the feeding of the 5,000, that number 5 again, that no matter what, all will be well. But it very much feels as though if we stick together, and I want to go back to this picture of this bus because, you know me and the way I work, it's all symbols. The point is that this bus is on fire because there isn't an energy of togetherness, I guess. That's what the message is from Spirit with regards to this. That we are not together at the moment. I don't want to diss any particular nation because actually this particular nation I'm about to mention we probably shouldn't have favourites in Unity Consciousness, but I do have a real love for the Japanese, and I've said that before because I think they model grace and dignity and hard work and many beautiful things. And Japan is actually top of my list of places I would love to go to. It really is. It's top 3, if not number 1 or 2 that I would like to visit. But I think there was also some whales that washed up in Japan yesterday. And it does rather make you think about the whaling in Japan, which is Japan whale killing, whaling in Japan, which is just terrible. Does Japan still allow whale hunting? I think so, yeah. But anyway, the point is that these whales, there was also whales that washed up in Japan yesterday. Let me just see if I can find the news. Yeah, here we go. Multiple whales washed ashore in Japan. I don't know whether these were saved or not, to be honest. Anybody know? Let us know if you do know. I think that was a result of potential tsunami. It's quite a sad picture. I'm not going to show you a sad picture. It doesn't actually say whether they were rescued or not. But, so it's the energy of duality, isn't it? On one part of the world they're saved, and on another maybe they're not. But if they're not, maybe there's also there's some type of energy there about maybe how they're perceived by that particular culture. I don't know. Okay, so I've mentioned the whales. I've mentioned that. Let's see. I wanted to pull a few cards now at this point. How are we doing for time? 38 minutes. All right. Let's start with... Well, I'll show you a couple of cards, actually. Pulled these last night from the Earth Magic deck by Stephen Farmer. And I just said... what is the message with regards to what's happened today, with regards to earthquake, tsunami, volcano? What does it all mean? And I'm going to explain this. So we have the card of New Moon, Promise, Island, Solitude, and Dawn, New Beginnings. So the New Beginnings card we can obviously understand quite easily. There is a new beginning coming. What does that mean? What's interesting, when you look at these two cards, the cards of Solitude and the card of Promise, The card of solitude obviously is about an energy of aloneness to a degree. There is that quote from philosophy, which is no man is actually an island. No man is an island. Although we live in a world whereby through the energy of separation and division, we are becoming little islands, little islands of you believe this and that camp believes that and never the twain shall meet. Whereas the promise is actually saying, if you look at it, there's a couple here. It feels as though it's more of an energy of unity. That word together again, togetherness, interconnectivity, as opposed to this energy of isolation, particularly when we have it here with the card of new beginnings. So I really like that. Sorry about my ignorance here. Is Hawaii an island? It is, isn't it? Let me just double check. Never actually been. I will come one day, Hawaii. Yeah, of course it's an island. I knew that. Yeah, islands. So this island as well. Watch the islands, I'm hearing. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it strikes me that obviously we've had 2 Lionsgate in a row now. Well, not quite in a row. 2023, we had the fires on Hawaii. Yesterday, in the build-up to this Lionsgate, we've got Hawaii being one of the principal places which had tsunami alert. I know that's not the only one. There's something about the islands. Watch the islands. I mean, I know we could take that into like an Epstein-type reference as well, but I'm feeling there's something else here. I'm also being drawn to New Zealand. I'm getting paranoid now. What is an island and what isn't? I don't want to offend anybody. Is New Zealand an island? Yeah, of course it bloody is. Is the UK an island? Yes, of course it is. I don't know. There's something about the islands versus landmass. What does that mean? What does that mean, Metatron? Islands versus landmass. Watch the islands. I mean, I'm being shown something I've said previously in other years, which was around, I don't know how many years ago. It could have even been Elvis, when I was channeling Elvis. I was talking about new land masses arising. Whether you think that's linked into the rising of Lemuria, Atlantis, around the Hawaii area. I also did work earlier this year linked into all of the rumblings and quakes that were happening around Greece and that whole basin there, Santorini. Has that gone quiet? I mean, it almost makes me feel as though, is Mother Earth again just being generous, as is high tourist season, and doesn't want to shake, rattle and roll when there's so many people upon her? But, it's going to come back. There's going to be more activity there in places such as the Greek islands. I'm also feeling the Spanish islands. I'm definitely feeling Hawaii. I'm feeling New Zealand. Islands generally, and I would include the UK in that as well. So we might not be getting a physical, earthquake, although we do have little ones, but there are political earthquakes, and there are, as I say, there is this anomaly with planes and air here right now. Radar issues, that can cover a lot of stuff, which leads us neatly on. I will just want to show you 2 cards from 2 different decks linked into the energy of whale. Apologies for the sound. We're nearly through, but just bear with me because this is important. Someone's just mowing their lawn, probably. It's the UK. I want to show you 2 cards with regards to whales. So again, the 5 whales that beached themselves but then came back out. Whales effectively are record keepers. So the whales are reminding us of our wisdom, of what we actually know that we've forgotten. They're also bringing back wisdom to us in some way. You can commune with the whales. Two cards here from two different animal decks. This one is again a Stephen Farmer deck, messages from your animal spirit guides. This is the humpback whale, and it talks about the energy of sound. And it's interesting, it says, in order to diagnose patients, one of the questions that shamans often asked was when the patient stopped singing. If it had been quite some time, the shaman was certain to recommend singing, among other remedies, as an essential aspect of recovery. All that's involved when you sing, the fullness and rhythm of your breathing, the opening of your mouth and jaw, and the soulful and creative expression of your spirit, serves to enhance your health and raise your vibrations. Similarly, playing an instrument. I'm hearing that beautiful song. Was it from the New Seekers? I want to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. Let's just look up the lyrics of that for one moment before we go to the next card about whale. Because I'm feeling as though I need to read you those lyrics. I remember this song from my childhood. I want to teach the world to sing. Who did it? Yeah, the New Seekers. Was it used in Coca-Cola advert? Well, I suppose in a weird way, Coca-Cola has sort of united the world. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Coca-Cola. I can't stand it, actually. But it is known around the world, a bit like football or music. Where are the blinking lyrics? Here we go. I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love, grow apple trees and honeybees and snow-white turtle doves. And I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once all standing hand in hand and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. Ah, beautiful, isn't it? Well, it says it all really, doesn't it? Absolutely says it all. So that's coming in with the energy of the whale, but also the energy of music and sound. But I also think there's something here about sound being either discordant, like that bloody sound outside my window, let it go, Amanda, or sound being beautifully healing and creating harmony and peace and resilience and strength as well, you know, or joy. So when we're talking about qualities that can help us through these times, it's also, music is part of that. Hey, I'm just back from Abereye. You saw my joy in my last video with regards to all of that. Right, I want to read you this passage here now. This is from the Animal Dreaming Oracle cards by Scott Alexander King. It's got a different image here, which I will put up so you can see. Whale record keeper. It says there are many tales of heroes being swallowed by whales in their quest for enlightenment. Oh yeah, Jonah. Their descent into the creature's belly often represents man's spiral into the underworld and his inevitable re-emergence after certain tests are passed. A journey symbolic of sacred rebirth and retrieval of the human spirit. Whale asks us to remember the earth as our mother and to reconnect with her and the soul connection we forged at the beginning of time. Whale is a keeper of the Earth Mother's sacred records. She witnesses the proceedings that collectively authenticate the spiritual makeup of the earth, the memories of each and every event that has ever and will ever contribute to her shaping. It says it's believed that many people who work with whale energy hold within their DNA the ability to comprehend the sound frequencies encoded in the audible rhythms and vibrations emitted by the great mammal. The throbbing song of the whale offers it the chance to reconnect with universal consciousness and the heartbeat of the Earth Mother. It's reminiscent of the double heartbeat we all heard as we grew in our mother's wombs. Wow. Right, number one, I think we all need to put on some whale music or dolphin music. That definitely is one of the tools that can help stabilize our bodies right now. So that is definitely something we need to be doing. Okay, I'm going to write that down and remember it myself. But also the energy of the whale totem helps us to rebirth our emotional body, and to revive yourself physically by tapping into their knowledge and rhythm. Yeah, okay, so whale coming through as a big teacher for us at this time. Let me just use the water element again, okay, to tune into the energy of the whales as record keepers. Yeah, and I'm seeing one in my mind's eye in the sea, and it's just poking its head, I don't know if they call it a head, out of the water, its nose, and it's just showing us it's there. And I'm seeing the circular ripples in the water as it rises, and it's definitely coming through as a helper and a guide. So really feel as though the whales are going to be with us through Lionsgate. Obviously we have the energy of the lion, but we've also got the energy of the whale. Let me pull a card now from my Dr Masaru Emoto deck. So Dr Emoto, yesterday we had a number of tsunami alerts. We also had a potential fear. It's literally pouring with rain. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear that? It's torrential rain coming down as soon as I've said Dr. Emoto. Love his energy. So we had tsunami alerts yesterday, Dr. Emoto, and we also had potential fear linked into possible damage of the nuclear site near the epicenter. I believe it's where a number of the nuclear submarines are that Russia holds. So Dr. Emoto did lots of work to help heal the waters around the after the Fukushima leak into the waters of the world. So he's showing me that as light workers, he's actually saying as water workers, I like that, we can put up some energetic defence around these nuclear stations, which are situated and can be influenced by water or earth. Sorry, I'm really distracted by the sound of the rain. It's really heavy. We've actually got a storm coming in. Okay, what he's trying to say to me, guys, is, I was talking about the fact that breathing apparatus is effectively another piece of almost like energetic armour. He's saying that we can put energetic armour into the waters of the world around, for example, sites where there is nuclear substations or submarines to protect them. Okay, so he's showing me it very simplistically, almost like a fence. It's literally I'm seeing it as like a steel fence, but it's much stronger than steel, something that is able to withstand the shaking and rumbling of the earth and any potential waves. So we can help to put defences up underneath the water or in the water around these structures. And it's very important, he says, that when we do that, that we also ask the water to find the easiest channel of release with the lowest amount of devastation or destruction. So what we don't want to be doing is putting up almost like energetic dams, because then the water has to go somewhere or the shock has to go somewhere. So there has to also be a channel that's created at the same time as the defence. And you don't need to know exactly how that has to look. You just ask for it to be put in place. Look at that rain. Wow. That is torrential. So, Masaru Emoto, he showed me the energy of Noah's Ark. But again, it's symbolic energy. Don't worry, we haven't actually physically got to go into an ark and take our animals in 2 by 2. But he's saying we are the ark. There are many water events to come in your world. He's saying New Earth cannot arrive without this water, to cleanse away the old, to also baptize the new. Not saying baptize in a Christian way, just that's what I'm hearing. New Earth cannot arise without water, because water is life. Water precedes life. Water is life. And after life, ashes are taken via water too in certain cultures. Respect for water. That's what he always used to say, to be honest. Respect the water. Respect the waters of the world. Respect the water within you. That when you're seeing an imbalance of any element, it's showing an imbalance within the collective. The elements are teachers. The elements are master teachers. Guess what that water crystal is? Truth. What I'm saying is truth. The elements are master teachers. Split the deck. What do you think this crystal is? It's time for some honest discussions about what we truly are holding within us. Back to what he showed me at the start, these heavy footprints. The damage that we're doing to each other, to ourselves, to the world. Can you hear the thunder? There's a storm breaking. There's going to be lightning, I hear. Have the energy of Tesla as well here. Tesla's energy has been lurking in my energy field for a few days. Again, if you're on social media, you know the story I told of the pigeons in London. That was weird. We were walking down a street, Harley Street, which is known for the number of private doctors that are there. A lot of women go there for all sorts of reasons, but there's a lot of fertility clinics. We're talking New Earth, we're talking birthing New Earth. Walking down Harley Street, and there's this pigeon that literally is following us. And it had attached to it its egg. The egg was hatched. There was no chick inside the egg. It was just the remnants of the egg that was stuck to the bird. And it was... I'd never seen anything like that before. Another crash of thunder. It's a bit like the turtle and the shell. The turtle carries its shell. This pigeon couldn't let go of the home that had encased new life. Is that a message for the fact that we can't let go of old Earth? Because we're frightened. Because we, as much as mentally we want New Earth to arrive, we don't know what that really means for us. What do we have to change? What do we have to do? What do we have to become? What can't we not be if we're in New Earth? I used to have a tea towel in my kitchen when the girls were younger, and it said something along the lines of, having to be a responsible parent spoils all my fun, something like that. But something in that, you know, having to grow up and be mature spiritual beings who are worthy of New Earth, who are worthy of this ascended Earth. We have to leave our childish ways behind, as it says in Corinthians. It's a higher form of love. Can we meet it? Can we be that? Or are we going to be like that poor pigeon, just dragging dragging around the old shell of what once was, because the new life had already left and had flown. But the poor mama bird was still like, what do I do with this old shell? I mention it's linked into Tesla because if you don't know and you're new to me, I've channeled him a couple of times, and Tesla gave me the pigeon as a sign that he's often around. And it's because when he was an older man, he was actually quite lonely. And he lived in New York, I believe, in a hotel. He didn't have many friends. And the pigeons were his friends. So, and he wrote quite eloquently about that they were his friends, and he fed them every day. So when I see odd pigeon things happening, I just say, hi, Tesla. The incidents with the pigeon following us down the street, and it really did follow us for quite a while, was preceded by me leaving this house a couple of days ago, and we had pigeon chicks in a nest underneath our satellite dishes. And I could see them out of our bedroom because our bedroom's in the loft. And I took a picture of them, and they were just beautiful. And then I got back after 2 days in London, and they'd flown the nest. Just like that mama bird, the chicks had gone. So the genie is already out of the lamp. The genie is new Earth. It is already here. But we are now dealing with letting go of the old. And I think we're finding it quite hard. But the answer is in togetherness. It's in understanding the interconnectivity of everything. That when one thing happens here, it has to affect this over here. It can't not. Which gets us to a place of understanding or stepping a little bit further towards unity, as opposed to just more and more separation, more and more division. You've said this and I don't agree with it, so I'm off. You're not in my camp. You're not who I thought you were. All of that. Mother Earth will teach us. The elements will teach us. So, I think I'm going to end it there. Let's just end with a final card from Earth Magic. It's a good deck. It's one of my favourite decks, this, actually. It's a really good one. We've obviously got this card, which is the energy of Volcano. So expect more of that. We're going to be seeing much more of that. The next card is the card of Tsunami. Hadn't realised that, but yeah. Because everything's interconnected. It can't not be. Okay, let's shuffle the deck anyway and see what we do get. Final message, please, then, Spirit, for those that are watching. Thank you very much for listening today. We've got the energy of fog. Veiled. Back to the energy of Lionsgate. It's veiled. It is linked into Lionsgate. 'Cause look at that. We've got the energy of ceremony. This would be Lionsgate. This is the ceremony. This is the whatever it is we're doing, the activation, the walking through, the blessing. It's veiled in fog right now. It's very linked into the energy of the moon card. I believe I'm right in saying that there is it a new moon or a full moon in Aquarius? Let's just double check. The day after Lionsgate. These bloody astrology diaries, and they don't tell you the obvious things like, is it a new moon or a full moon? It's a full moon, thank you. Full moon in Aquarius, the day after Lionsgate. You see, the Aquarian nature by nature does not want to be pinned down. Does not want to be pinned down. Does not want to be labelled. Arrives unexpectedly. So my guidance with regards to Lionsgate is, let's prepare. Let's have it on our radar. I've got my grid here. but I know that that grid might change completely by next week. Let us follow events, but let us truly have open eyes to understand the interconnectivity of everything and be there for each other. Thank you very much for listening. Take great care, and hoping that the flights here in the UK can resolve themselves. Whatever reason they come out with will not be the reason, because these flights are grounded because of issues with regards to the radar issues. Let's pull a card on it. Finally, I know I said I was going to end, but I'm just intrigued now. UK radar issues. What the hell does that mean? Got the eight of Pentacles. There's somebody working on it, but their heads down. They're not quite sure what they're doing. What the hell is? They don't know. They don't understand what's going on. Nine of Wands. Someone's working on it and is very defensive about it. It's veiled. It's the moon. Seven of Cups. Cool, lots of money caught up in all of this. All money cards. The cards are just saying, yeah, we're working on it. We're at a crossroads. What the hell's going on? I know it happened last year, but this is definitely linked into environmental factors, not just, oh, we forgot to plug this in. Yeah. Okay. Take great care. Look after yourself. Look after each other. Thanks very much. I'll be back next week for Lionsgate. And also I'm doing my webinar on the 4th of August. Details of that below. And I believe that there's a couple of videos of me on Heart Coherence Collaborative. I think the first one is today. I did a podcast with them a couple of weeks ago, and I think they've broken it down into 3 sort of chunks. So if you go onto their channel and have a watch of my video, I would appreciate that as well. Thank you very much. That's centered around the energy of Archangel Chamuel and the pink ray, and just spreading a bit of love, because I don't know about you, I think we need that. Thanks very much. The storm has passed. Look. Well, you can't see, but out of my windows, it's looking a lot clearer. Okay, bye-bye for now. Bye.